Teen Gamer here, and well, as you see in the title of the video, I have to do this at some point. It's time. We are going to be showcasing these two characters, of course, so Raiden Shogun and Yoimiya. But, of course, Raiden Shogun has to go first because, well, Raiden is the main star of the show, and I recently just summoned C2 Raiden, so yeah. Well, anyways, it is time to do the showcase on Raiden Shogun. So, you already know how these showcases works, but if you don't, then I will give you a Spark Notes version. So, of course, I'm gonna be showcasing my build on Raiden. And then afterwards, I showcase her on teams. And after that, I fight bosses with her. And then I deal the max damage output. And then after that, I just reveal my final thoughts and conclusions on the character. So yeah, that's basically how a video is structured on the showcases on my channel. So without any further ado, let's just go to the first category, which is just my Raiden build. So here is my Raiden build. So if you do pay attention to my Spiral Abyss video, she has not changed at all. And the only thing that's changed about her is that she's C2. So yeah, that's basically it. But here are my Raiden stats. The only reason why I showcase my stats first is to basically give you guys a brief rundown onto what my Raiden is capable of. So you guys basically don't go into the video blind and saying like, oh, why does Raiden do that much damage? Or how does Raiden do this? Well, that's because of the build I ran. So yeah, that's basically the only reason why I showcase my builds. And it's also for you guys to give insight onto what you should build your characters on. So in this case for Raiden, I will be showcasing my artifacts and then talents and also weapons and basically give you guys why I leveled her up that way. So yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about. But anyways, it's time to talk about her actual stats. So as you see here, she has 1000 attack. Her max HP is, well, serviceable. Crit rate, crit damage is pretty high. Of course, I have to give her a lot of crit rate, crit damage. Her energy recharge is also pretty high too. You'll see why in a moment as well. And as you see here, electro damage is pretty high because of her passive talent. So yeah. So as for her weapon, I give her Engulfing Lightning. This is her best pole arm ever. There is no other pole arm you would ever run. If you want to run a free-to-play pole arm, you can run the Catch. The Catch is her second best weapon besides Engulfing Lightning. So if you are running a free-to-play Raiden, you can run the Catch. But Engulfing Lightning, if you do have the spare primos, is definitely way worth it for Raiden. Raiden works really well with this weapon, and it's what makes her like one of the best DPSs in the entire game. So yeah. As for artifact set, I have 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. This is her best artifact set. No questions asked. Because it works on her DPS set, it works on her sub, and it works on her support. Because in DPS, well, her burst damage gets increased. On sub, her burst damage gets increased again, and also her E does a lot of damage too because of her energy recharge. And then her support is self-explanatory too because you can use her burst, and then you basically get energy back for your other party members. So yeah, this is definitely her best set on every single option out there. DPS, sub-DPS support, this is her best set. As for constellations, I have her at C2. Again, it's really good to have her C2 because on her C2, she ignores 60% of the opponent's defense. This is only if you want to run Raiden as a DPS, which is what I do. So if you want to run Raiden as a DPS, you must get her C2 because this is a really, really impactful constellation, and it makes her like one of the most broken DPSs in the entire game. If you want to run her as a sub and support, she doesn't really need this, so you don't need C2 if you want Raiden to be a sub or support. But if you are running Raiden as a DPS, then of course just get this. It's a really, really good constellation. As for talents, I have her at 10-10-10. I main her. So yeah, I use her a lot in teams, so I have to triple crown her. Really, really good character. So yeah, that's basically it for the, well, my Raiden build, as you see there. So she just runs Emblem with high crit rate, crit damage, and energy recharge. So it's basically what you want to build your Raiden as. So yeah. But anyways, now it's time to actually showcase her in teams. She is showcased in a lot of teams, and by that I mean a lot of teams use her. And there is a lot of team comps out there. So I will be picking out a handful, at least 10 of them, because, well, I have to showcase why Raiden is really good on all those teams. So yeah, well, anyways, it's time to go to Spiral Abyss. So I will see you guys there. Alright, so here we are in Spiral Abyss. The only reason why I ever go into a Spiral Abyss before I actually select the teams is because I want to show my roster. And because of that, I don't have certain characters. So yeah, it's what I usually do when or before I showcase teams on Spiral Abyss. I just showcase my roster because I don't have certain characters, which means I can't show certain comps. So with that being said, I don't have Wanderer, I don't have I'll Hate Them, and I don't have Nouvelette. So I can't showcase Raiden on those teams. But I can at least mimic them and showcase at least somewhat what Raiden is capable of in a quote-unquote team with them. By that, I mean, of course, their respective elemental reactions. So yeah, but first of all, I need to get this team out of the way because it's literally the most commonly used team in Raiden comps, and that is Raiden National. Yeah, this is the premiere or the premiere free-to-play comp that Raiden runs. So you literally just pull Raiden and then you build these 3 up and then you are golden. You can literally destroy Spiral Abyss with these 3 free-to-play characters and Raiden Shogun. That's how good Raiden is. She's broken. Absolutely busted. As for the other character, I guess I could just put Yoimiya? Yeah, let's put Yoimiya. Why not? So, the only reason why I'm doing, floor 12 is because I fight the Mechanical Array, which is just a robot boss. So yeah, I will be choosing this because this is not a detrimental stat for, Raiden. So we can just choose that. Alright, let's get going. Alright, so, here is the Raiden National team. It's pretty easy. You just pop off all bursts, but before you do that, you have to cast Raiden E. So you cast Raiden E, then you pop off all bursts, and then you do Raiden burst, and then you deal as much damage as you can, as you see here. So yeah, it's pretty easy to run team. Alright, so we're gonna be doing it again. So we're gonna be popping burst, burst, and then burst, and then Raiden's burst is off cooldown, and then you just do that, and that's literally how you play Raiden National. Really, really easy. Since Raiden's burst actually gives energy back to her party members, you can constantly get Bennett's, Xiangling's, and Xingqiu's burst back. And that's basically it, yeah. So you can spam bursts all the time. You basically become this walking monster of a, team comp. And you just deal so much damage. I see there, bam, like 200k right there. And then 25k per normal on burst. Yeah, Raiden is just way too good. I think we're about to finish up here. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, as you see here, Raiden National, really good comp. One of the best in the game. So, yeah. It is a literal free-to-play comp that you can run. And Raiden performs really well. It's literally one of our most used teams in the entire game. Yeah, that's how free-to-play friendly she is. So yeah. Well, anyways, now it's time to move on to the next team I'm going to be featuring. Alright, so the next team comp we got is Raiden Hypercarry. Yes, Raiden Hypercarry. This is only good if you have Kujo-Sara C6, which basically buffs your attack. And then Raiden C2 because she ignores 60% defense. So this literally basically makes Raiden hit really, really hard. Hence the term hyper carry. She carries your whole team, basically. That's basically it. Of course, Kasa is here for the elemental burst so that she's able to do more damage. And you'll see here, kablam, 406,000 damage on burst. Yep. That's Raiden for you. So yeah, there is Raiden Hyper Carry as you see there. Her main gimmick is that she just does a bunch of damage. And also, since Kujo-Sara gives Raiden her buffs because of C1, because of the accelerated resolve she gets, she's able to output numbers like that really fast. Yeah, Raiden is just super, super good, as you'll see here. Alright, so he's about to summon his robots. Yeah, there we go. I think it's this one, yeah. Alright. We're going to be affecting him. And then let's just use Raiden Burst right here. Kablam! 100k, no crit by the way. Casual 100k. Yeah, Raiden is way too good. 38k on normal. Alright. Alright. We only get 6 seconds of Kujo Sara buff, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. Let's just do this. Kablam, 300k. Casual 300k, by the way. Yeah. Raiden's way too good. Raiden is just way too good. Yeah. Well, anyways, now it's time to showcase her on another team, and it's actually a pretty new team comp because of a certain character that just released recently. So I'll showcase that team comp. All right. So by the new character, I mean Chevraz. Yes, Chevraz is a really good character on an overload team. So what I have here is a Raiden overload team. So how Chevraz works is that when you cast her E, you basically deal damage on overload. And since she supports overload on her E and not her burst is just a big AoE burst. All she has to do is just use your E, and then basically she becomes good. So yeah, that's basically it. So let's test her out. Let's see what Raiden Hypercarry is capable of. So I'm gonna be using her burst first because I have her C4, so she's able to do her E basically twice or 3 times in a row. We're gonna wait for Kujo Sara's thing to burst. There we go. That's 100k. All right. 38k. That's not bad. All right, we're gonna be using her thing again. We gotta wait and then use her E 3 times. There we go. I'm only able to do that. That's because Chevraz is at C4, and in C4 when you use her burst, you're able to get 2 free shots in. So yeah, that's the only reason why Chevraz is able to do 3 E's right there, as you see there. That means that you can basically heal 3 times, meaning that you can get her full passive on her talent, which is pretty nice on Chevraz. So yeah. Alright, I'm gonna be using Raiden Q here to take this guy down really quickly. There we go. Let's get some particles back. Alright, there we go. Oh, there's the quest. Okay, I just recently did like the quest or the new quest in this version. So yeah, I'm still currently doing the I think it's a 5-parter quest. Yeah, I think it's a 5-parter quest for that quest, but it's the Leroy quest line. Just want to say that. So yeah. Well, there we go. So while I was casually explaining the new quest that just popped up, we just beat up the mechanical array. So yeah, pretty good. Yeah, Chevraz might potentially be one of the best supports in the game just because of how much utility she gives on an overload team. But the only sad thing is that, well, I just said it, you can only run her on an overload team. So yeah, her flexibility is trash, but on the team that she is on, she is a god. So yeah, I need to test Chevraz more, but that's also another example on Chevraz working well on an overload team with Raiden. So yeah, there you go. There is a Chevraz team, aka Overload. So yeah. Well, anyways, now it's time to move on to another popular team that Raiden is on. So I will cut to that. I'm pretty sure you've seen this team so many times before. Yes, it's no surprise that Raiden is good on a Hyperbloom team. Of course she is. I mean, she's able to trigger Hyperbloom reactions. Yeah. It's not really a surprise that Raiden is really good on this team too. So yeah. I will switch to Nahida in a bit. Just after, there we go. And then we're able to see how much damage Nahida is able to do here. Just before, I need to get all their bursts up. So let's get the burst up. Let's get the burst up right here. And let's do Nahida normals. And then see the god damage she's able to do. Yep. Nahida casual damage right there. Alright, I'm gonna be... Yeah, let's tag everyone. There we go. Which one's the lit up one? It's this one, right? Yeah, this is the lit up one. Alright, let's tag them. Let's use Baiju. And then let's use Raiden Burst so we can get all their bursts back. I do have to go behind this guy because, well, he's blocking the front. Oh, never mind. I guess he's blocking the entire thing. Well, that's a waste of a Raiden Burst. Alright. Let's use Yelan And then I think Baiju's is off cooldown. Yeah, there we go. And then let's just use Nahida. Alright. Now let's do Nahida normals and see the god damage. Yep, there we go. There's Nahida popping off. So yeah, there is Raiden Hyperbloom. It's also another commonly used team. You can run Hyperbloom with Alhaitham as well. She works really well as a sub on a Hyperbloom team with Alhaitham. But she also works with Nahida main DPS, so you can just run Nahida main DPS with Raiden. But yeah, that's basically Hyperbloom. Really, really good. And speaking of Bloom reactions and Denjo in general, I will showcase another team she is good on. Of course, she works well on Aggravate and Quicken as well, of course. I mean, if there is a Denjo reaction involved, she is good on basically all Denjo reactions. She is just her. She is just Raiden Shogun. So yeah, as you see there is a lot of damage going on right there. We're basically about to take half of its health away. So yeah, she's just really good. Alright, let's use Yoimiya Burst. There we go. Casual Burst. We can use Baiju. And then let's tag him again and then use Raiden Burst. There we go. And then deal a bunch of Quicken damage right here. Yeah, she is really, really good on the Quicken team too. Alright, I think he's about to summon his minions here. Let's just use the burst and let's tag everyone. There we go. Alright, the one's glowing is over here. So let's target this guy. Alright, burst right here. Do a bunch of bajillion damage burst on Raiden. I think he's about to die in a moment. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Let's recast everyone's attacks. Let's use Miko Burst. And then use another burst right here. And then Raiden's able to do her big damage. Yeah, 200k right there. Alright, so that's basically it for Raiden Quicken and Aggravate. Works just as well as Hyperbloom. A bit less effective than Hyperbloom since Hyperbloom just does way more damage. But it still gets the job done if you want to deal with AoE crowds. So yeah, it's great on crowds, but Hyperbloom is good for single target damage. So yeah. But anyways, now it's time to talk about her applications as a sub DPS. And I did showcase a couple of them, but here is a true instance on Raiden being a good sub DPS. Yep, I haven't dusted her off in a while. Here is a Raiden sub DPS comp, and it is the Eula physical team. Yeah, I have to at least get some Eula gameplay in here. So I waited here on purpose just to get the 5 stacks on the Serpent Spine. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so first off, of course we gotta cast basically everything here. And then let's use the E. And then let's use Eula Burst right here. Alright. I think they're about to get the sigil damage right here. There we go. That's 79k. Casual 79k. Alright. Let's use the burst here and then just get an AoE heal right off the bat. You can also use Raiden Burst to get everyone's burst back too. We gotta wait. Alright, there we go. I think just should get everyone's burst back. Yeah, there we go. And then Mika's should just get his back. And then we could heal everyone here. Alright. There we go. Alright. I think we're gonna save this for the big boy right here. That's double E, so yeah, that's 100k. Casual 100k. Alright. Raiden Burst. Take these guys down. And then let's just finish this guy off. Alright. Use burst right here. We're about to get Mika's E. There we go. And then now we can just do this. And then we can just hold her E. Oh, never mind. I guess he just blocked that. But it's fine though. We basically beated the mechanical array. I was about to showcase Eula using her hold down E to deal the physical damage, but I guess I wasn't quick enough, so yeah. But anyways, there is a team where Raiden is a sub DPS. And I'll showcase another sub DPS team before we get onto the weird teams with her. So, well, without any further ado, it's time to showcase another sub DPS Raiden team. So, here you guys go. So, this is the team that I'm talking about. So, I guess you could just call this a sneak peek into Yoimiya's showcase. But, this is a team where Raiden is the sub, and that is the Overload team. This is a second variation of the Overload team. So, I'm going to be using her full E passive so we can get all 3 stacks. Alright, we're going to be using Burst here. Oh, never mind. We got to get everyone's Burst back. So, yeah, it's the only reason why I am using Raiden's Burst. Before we use Yoimiya's actual normal attack. Alright, now we actually can use it. 22k. Oops, ouch. That hurts. 22k, yeah. She works well on a Overload team, definitely. Alright, we're gonna be using her E so we can heal ourselves. There we go. Alright. Now let's use Raiden's Burst. And then, well, I guess now we don't have to anymore. Alright. I think we're about to... No. Okay, wait. We have to use the E right here. Alright. There we go. Let's use her elemental skill and then use Yoimiya normals. This should take him out. Yeah, there we go. That's... Thankfully, we took him out before Yoimiya's thing goes off cooldown. Alright. Let's do this so Raiden can basically pop off right here. Alright. Because we need at least Raiden to do some damage here so that it doesn't go off cooldown. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Alright, let's use Yoimiya elemental skill and then do normal attacks. 35k on final attack. Yeah, there we go. But as you see there, Raiden works well as a sub on that Overload team specifically. I know my Chevreuse is not fully built. I do have some artifacts that aren't even leveled up, so that's why she healed kinda terrible. But you see what I mean by this team could potentially be good. Because my Chevreuse is not fully built. If she is fully built, then she would pop the F off. I'll just say that. She'll pop the frick off. But, yeah, that's basically it for Raiden as a sub. Now it's time to actually talk about, well, at least showcase some of her weirder teams. So I will showcase at least 2 of them, and then we could just call it off and then just go to the bosses. So anyways, here is Raiden's 2 weird teams. Alright, here's our first weird team comp, and that is Navia Hypercarry. Yes. Since Raiden's E basically activates every time you attack, this actually works well for Navia, which basically gives her more shrapnel stacks. And with more shrapnel stacks, as you see there, she does like 300k. So yeah. Navia is able to output numbers like that on a, well, Raiden support, since her elemental skill attacks when you attack, which is really, really good. And since Raiden's burst basically gives off everyone's burst back, it's really good in the support spectrum as well. So I guess you could just call this a mix of all 3, where Raiden can basically act as the secondary DPS, and then he can be a sub because of her elemental skill and her damage on her burst. And then she can also be a support because it basically gives Navia her burst back. And with her burst, she gets more shrapnel stacks. And the more shrapnel stacks you have, the higher her damage is, as you see there. So yeah. Alright. So we're going to be casting everything again. There we go. And then let's finish this off right there. So yeah, there you go. So as you see, Navia actually works really well with Raiden, since Raiden's E basically attacks when she does, which gives her more shrapnel stacks, since her passive gives her Geo damage infusion, which is really, really good. So yeah, there is one weird team down. Now I will showcase another weird team, which probably no one ever runs ever. So yeah, this will be a new team you guys might see. So anyways, it's time to showcase it. When I said weird, I mean weird, because who in the frick runs Electro-Charged these days? No one. Literally no one runs Electro-Charged. But regardless of my statement on it, it's still a really good team because, well, Raiden carries the whole team. Same with Furina. So yeah, as you see there goes half of its health because of the passive Electro-Charged damage. So yeah, this is a weird team comp, meaning that literally no one ever, and I mean ever, uses this team comp because there is Hyperbloom, there is Electro-Charged now because of Chevra's. So there's no reason to ever run an Electro-Charged team unless you want to be funny and basically showcase why this team is broken, which is what I'm doing right now. As you see there, yeah, Raiden is actually super cracked in a Electro-Charged team, as you see there. Bam! That's literally it. Like, Raiden destroyed everything right there. So yeah, this is mainly, well, I guess you could call it a Hypercarry team, but this is mainly a Electro-Charged team. So yeah, that's basically it. No Kazuha buff, by the way. Literally just Electro and Hydro, and she's able to perform splendidly. So yeah. Well, anyways, now it's time to close off the Spiral Abyss showcases with, well, a Archon team. Since Raiden is an Archon, we have to showcase her in an Archon team. So, without any further ado, here is Raiden in a Archon team. Alright, so here is a Raiden Archon team. This is your typical, standard, well, Archon team. Too bad Venti can't show up here because, well, Venti is not good on a single target enemy. Venti is good on AoE enemies. So, yeah, that's the reason why I didn't run Venti over, let's say, Zhongli. And plus, Zhongli doesn't make me get well, dead, because, well, Furina will basically drain all of my HP, so it's good that, Zhongli is here so that we don't take as much damage as we should. But yeah, there we go. There is, like, all of its health down in, like, 30 seconds or less. Yeah, Archon team is actually pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually a really good team. Alright, let's use Raiden Burst right here, do a massive amount of damage. I think that should be it right there. Yep. And then let's go to this guy. Alright. Let's use Furina Burst to get our buffs in. And then let's do Raiden Burst to seal the deal. And there we go. So yeah, Raiden works well on an Archon team. Who would have thought? But yeah, that's basically it for the Spiral Abyss showcases. Now it's time to actually showcase her in bosses. And by bosses, I mean Inazuma bosses, of course, because she's from Inazuma. So that means that, well, in order to do the damage showcase, I have to run Raiden twice. So forgive me on that. But anyways, now it's time to showcase her on bosses, with the first one being Signora. Alright, so here we are in the Signora domain. Yes, sir! We are going to be showcasing her in the Inazuma bosses, as I mentioned. So the first off, we are going for Signora. So, as for the team I'm going to be running on her, I think it should be pretty obvious. Yes, Hyperbloom. That team is just way too good to run. So, yeah, I'm going to be running Hyperbloom on, well, this specific fight. So here we go. Let's start it off. Alright, so of course Signora has 2 phases, so we have to go through her first phase before we go through her second phase. So let's quickly deal that first. So let's just cast everyone's skills right here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Yeon's is not on, is not up right now. But yeah, as you see there, I already did like way too much damage. And yeah, that's basically it. It's how Hyperbloom usually goes. Alright, let's use a normal attack. Since I don't have any, pyro characters, this is gonna go down, or this is gonna go by really slowly. And plus I have to use these, pyro thingies just to not freeze to death. So yeah, there's 2. We have to find 2 more. So yeah, it takes a total of 4 of these, moths to take down her shield. This should be the last one right there. There we go. Alright, we're skipping the cutscene. Alright. Hopefully I can dodge this. Yeah, I dodged it. Nice dodge. Alright. Let's use everyone's burst right here. In preparation of Raiden's burst. Kablam! There we go. We do like a bajillion damage. Alright, let's chase her down. Let's chase her down. And then this should basically kill her right here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Raiden takes care of business, as you see there. A bajillion damage on Signora's second phase, and you know how tanky Signora is. So yeah, Raiden is really, really good on basically whatever you put her on, or whatever she faces. She's just way too good, except for characters that of course resist Electro. But yeah, there is Raiden Shogun against Signora. Now it's time to showcase her against herself. So yeah, Persona 4, face yourself. Anyways, here is Raiden in the Raiden domain. Alright, I hope you are ready for Raiden on Raiden action, because here it is, Raiden versus Raiden. Yeah, of course the best domain to test out damage currently is the Raiden domain. So yeah, after I beat Raiden against her, basically, I will just play Raiden again and then do her max damage showcase on the Raiden domain. So yeah, hope you guys forgive me again to fight Raiden twice in this video, but currently it is the best domain to basically feature her max damage. So yeah, there you go. But anyways, now I will be showcasing Raiden's most commonly used team here to showcase how good it is. So here is Raiden National, which is one of the best teams in the game. No questions asked. Yeah, a literal free-to-play team. It's one of Raiden's best teams in the game. No premium supports, no premium anything. Just these 3 day 1 4-star characters is one of Raiden's best team comps. Literally. Alright, 200k, able to deal a bunch of damage right here. Alright, we gotta find the real one. Okay, it's this one. You can tell if it's the real Raiden if you see the double slashes, by the way. Just a pro tip here, if you guys didn't fight Raiden before, but I'm pretty sure you guys did. So, yeah, not really a pro tip. Alright, I think we're about to get our burst right here, hopefully. Oops, that does a lot of damage. Alright, let's use Xingqiu E, let's get his particles back. Alright, there is Raiden's second form. I took too long to basically burst her down, so now she's in this form now, which sucks. Alright, let's cast like everything we got so we can kind of finish her off in this form. Let's use a burst right here. I'm going to be saving her skill for later, because she might do the big sword attack where she basically, yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, this is the big sword attack. Alright. You just cast Electro right here and then protect ourselves. If you guys don't cast it fast enough, you die in one hit. So, yeah. The only reason why I saved her E for that particular moment right there. Let's cast his burst so that we could take interruption resistance. I think we're about to get Bennett burst so we can heal ourselves. Pretty good. Alright. Let's spam burst. I'm going to be saving Zhongling's. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's cast burst right here. And then let's use Raiden burst. Kablam. There we go. There is Raiden Shogun. Really, really easy. Of course she can fight herself. I mean, it's Raiden Shogun. But, anyways, now it's time to actually showcase her max damage output. So I am going to be playing the Raiden domain again. But this time, I will be using a team tailored specifically for Raiden to deal as much damage as she can. So, yeah, well, without any further ado, let's just showcase it. Alright, so here we are with a team comp that I basically ran, which is a Hypercarry team. Yeah, this is a Hypercarry team. So, what we have here is basically just Raiden doing the max amount of damage possible with, well, characters that basically help Raiden do a bunch of damage. So first up, we have Raiden, which is our main DPS. She has high energy recharge, which basically makes it so that she is able to do big damage on her burst. We have Engulfing Lightning, her best weapon. We have Emblem of Severed Fate, her best artifact set. We have C2, which basically ignores 60% of the opponent's defense. And we have 10 talents. So yeah, that's basically it for Raiden. She is our main DPS, so there's nothing really much to talk about. So yeah. As for Zhongli here, we have Millilith on him. Yes, he is here for a Millilith buff, which basically increases the party's attack by 20%, which is really good. And since Raiden casts her E a lot, same with Furina and Bennett, we basically get the max amount of stacks. And speaking of Furina, we have Furina right here who has C2 constellation right here. So basically, she's able to increase her HP, which means more fanfare. And because she accelerates fanfare, she's able to do big damage. Or at least give big buffs to Raiden. We have Splendor of Tranquil Waters, which is her weapon of choice, with Golden Troop, and then with 10/10 talent. So yeah, Furina's just here to buff the parties. And then here we have Bennett, which basically does the same job as Furina. We have high HP just in case we do get low. We have Skyward Blade, which is a high base attack weapon, with Noblesse, which is his best artifact set, which increases the party member's attack by 20%. We also have C1, meaning that we don't have an HP restriction, and also increases an additional 20% on Bennett's base attack on his Q, which is at level 13, which is the highest you could ever get it to. So yeah, we have Raiden ready in the bag. I just hope that Raiden crits. So yeah, there are many times where Raiden does not crit. So hopefully this is the time where she crits. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be spamming bursts all the time. And that's because we need to build up, well, Raiden's resolve stacks. We need more Raiden resolve stacks. The more stacks she gets, the higher her damage is. So yeah, stacks is what we are going for, as well as healing as well with Furina. That's why we have food as well. We need food to basically accelerate the amount of resolves or stacks that we get on fanfare for Furina. So the more fanfare stacks we have, the better. So yeah, I think Raiden's at full. So all we have to do now is just survive until yeah, we just have to survive until basically her final phase. So yeah, we're just here to stall at this point. Alright, so now we are going to be spamming Bennett E over and over again until her shield is low. That's basically how this fight goes for this team at least. Alright, let's use Zhongli Burst. There's no reason to ever have it in the first place. Alright, let's use Elemental Skill. Use another Elemental Skill. Alright, we can use our E now. There we go. We saved that E just for that moment. There we go, we take 1 damage. Alright, let's just keep going until Raiden's shield is down. We can spam as much burst and elemental skills as we want. And that's because she gives us our burst back if we take down her shields. This is why Raiden is the best boss to test damage on, and that's because you get your burst back. So yeah, it's the only reason why you would do it. Alright. Let's use the shield here. You can get millilith stacks. Like we need it though. Alright, she is low. So all we have to do is cast, I think, like 2 more elemental skills. So yeah, so let's cast the last one right here. Alright, shield. We need Furina right here to basically do this. Let's give ourselves more HP right here. Alright, let's do elemental burst. And then this should give us the max stacks right here. There we go! 429,000! There we go! With Furina buff, with Bennett buff, with Zhongli, Millilith. Yeah, that is it. That is it. Right there. That is peak damage. Yeah, so there is Raiden's max damage output. As you see there, really, really high damage. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, man. Raiden is just way too good. So, anyways, now it's time to go over to the overview of Raiden and then give my final thoughts on her. So here we have the Raiden Shogun A. Yes, the Electro Archon herself. So, of course, I am going to be talking about her talents first before we go over to her constellations. So, let's just talk about it and give her the overview that she deserves. So here we go. So her normal attack, Origin, which basically just gives her 5 consecutive spear strikes. This also applies to her elemental burst as well, because her elemental burst hits 5 times because it's tied to her normal attacks. So yeah, keep that in mind if you are using her burst to do damage, which is all the time basically. Her elemental skill, which is Transcendent Baleful Omen, which basically does AoE electro damage when you use her E, which basically activates once every 0.9 seconds every time a party member or herself attacks. And basically you get 20% of the normal damage, which is really, really good. It is super, super good. It is used on sub DPS teams. It's used on Raiden to deal more damage herself. It's also able to support as well, giving elemental reactions. It is a really, really good elemental skill. And the fact that it does AoE damage means that it works well on Hyperbloom, which is one of the best teams in the entire game. So yeah. As for her burst, Secret Art Muso Shensetsu, which basically does AoE electro damage on the first hit, and then afterwards you basically just go into the Muso Ishin state, where all of your attacks become electro damage, and also when you attack, she is able to get elemental particles back, which basically gives her her burst back. And also, when you use her Q, she's immune to Electro-Charged, which is pretty good. It means that she doesn't get interruption resistant. She's also resistant to interruption as well on other attacks. So basically big enemies like the Law Churls, which basically do the charge attack, she is unfazed by that when you are in her Muso Ishin state from her Q. Also, she is able to get Chakra Desperata stacks, which basically increases the elemental burst damage, and also the more resolve stacks you have, the higher damage you deal, and also you get a lot of your elemental energy back because of her Q. So when you use her Q, you get energy back, and of course, the more energy you have, the more energy your party members will have, meaning that you basically get all their bursts back. Yeah, this is right here is Raiden's bread and butter, her Q. So basically, all it comes down to is get high energy recharge. The more bursts you do, the higher resolve stacks you get, and the more resolve stacks you get, the higher her damage is. Yeah, that's basically the Spark Stealth version. So all your party members do burst. Raiden's burst does more damage. When you use Raiden's burst and hit people, you get energy back. That's basically all there is to it. So yeah, that is the simplified version of hers. So when you get an elemental orb on Wishes Unnumbered, which is her passive skill, you get 2 resolve stacks, meaning that you get more resolve stacks, which basically increases her damage. Yeah, so it is really, really good passive talent. We also have the other one, which is Enlightened One, which basically every 100% above 100% energy recharge for each 1%, you get 0.6% greater energy restoration off her Q, and 0.4% electro damage. That is the reason why my Raiden has high electro damage. That's because of her energy recharge. So she scales off of energy recharge, which is why you want to build her with as much energy recharge as you possibly can. So yeah, there is the reason why Raiden is really, really good, and that's because she is an energy recharge character. She's one of the few characters in the entire game who scales off of energy recharge. So yeah, the more energy recharge you have, the higher your Raiden's damage will be. And also, it works well on support and sub as well. And we also have her overworld passive talent, which is All Preserver, which basically saves you Mora and basically when you craft swords and pole arms, which is pretty nice. You could save some money on the side while you ascend swords and pole arms, which is basically most of the characters in the game anyway. So if you do pull for Engulfing Lightning and also Raiden, you can basically save Mora off of this, which is pretty cool. So yeah. And now it's time to talk about her constellations, and my goodness, her constellations are actually pretty good. So yeah. So her C1 Ominous Inscription basically accelerates your Chakra Desperata faster. Yeah, so you basically get more resolve stacks. Electro characters give her 80%, while other characters get 20%. 20% is nothing to scoff at, by the way. It is still an increase regardless if it is lower than an Electro character. So she's basically able to get her burst really fast. That's basically all there is to it. You basically get the max amount of damage way faster than you should. For C2 Steelbreaker, this is one of her most broken constellations in the game, because when you use her Q, you ignore 60% of the opponent's defense. That's it. Yep. So while you're in the state, you deal 60% more damage. Yeah. Really, really broken. Busted. As for C3, we have Shikage Bygones, which basically increases her elemental burst by 3 levels. Again, more damage, the better. Her C4, Pledge of Property, or Property. Basically, when you are in your queue and you deal 30% more attack. So yeah, when you use her Q, basically all party members get 30% attack bonus. And by the way, it has to be expired. So yeah, it is really, really good. It's super, super good. So when you use her Q and it expires, all of her party members get 30% attack for 10 seconds. That is a lot of attack, meaning that, well, again, Raiden National, Xingqiu, Zhongling are able to do more damage off her burst. So yeah, it's really, really good. Nothing to scoff at. At C5, we have Shogun's Descent, which basically increases her E by 3. Again, more damage. And then we have C6, which is Wishbearer. So when you use her Elemental Burst, your Elemental skill cooldown, besides herself, by the way, basically gets decreased by 1 second for a total of 5 times. It's really good. It's super, super good. So if you want to get Xingqiu's E faster, you can get C6 and then do a bunch of normal attacks on her Elemental Burst. And then Xingqiu will basically have his Elemental skill 5 seconds faster. This also works for Nahida too, meaning that you can get instant Nahida E. Yeah, really busted. Same thing with Furina. You can get 5 seconds off of Furina, and Furina's elemental skill lasts for 20 seconds, by the way. That is a 20-second cooldown, and you're able to get that fast. Yeah, it is really, really good. Super, super, super good constellation, especially since she is a support. Yeah, she is a support because of this, and as well as all her other stuff that I talk about. But yeah, she is really, really good with this constellation. One of their best constellations in the game because it decreases skill cooldown. It's really, really good. And yeah, that's basically it for Raiden Shogun. As for my final thoughts on her, I still think that she is the best character in the game. Yes. And by that, I mean she is a really, really good DPS. Still the best Electro DPS in the game, in my opinion. She is a really good sub. Still one of the best subs. And she's a really good support because she basically gives elemental bursts for free on your other party members. Still one of the best supports in the entire game. So yeah, Raiden is overall, in my opinion, the best character in the game because she fills every single role possible. So yeah, that's basically it for Raiden. She's just a god. Just a electro goddess, to be specific. So yeah, that's basically it for the Raiden showcase video. If you guys like the showcase video, make sure to leave a like down below. Any amount of support is greatly appreciated. And plus, if you do like the video, it basically tells me that you want more videos like this. So if you leave a like, I will make more showcase videos in the future. Also, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you do subscribe to not miss out on a single upload. I upload genshin videos once a week, but I always upload inconsistently, so having the notification bell on basically tells you which uploads are uploading. So yeah, you don't have to miss a single upload on my channel. Also, comment down below, what do you think of Raiden? Do you think she's good? You think she's bad? You think I'm over-exaggerating? Or you think she's actually pretty good? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching this Raiden showcase video, and I'll see you guys in the next Genshin video.